from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Sunday, September 3rd. So today we have the moon moving out of this Aries energy, moving into Taurus energy. And of course, this transition always brings us down a couple of pegs, mostly because that Taurus energy wants us to slow our roll, wants us to be a little bit more present, wants us to focus in on the smaller, little happier things in life. While that fire energy from Aries just had ants in our pants, had a lot of restlessness, had a lot of urges to go ahead, to start fresh, to really push ourselves forward. Of course, we're not in the position to do that right now. We are more concerned with cleaning up the aspects of the past than we are blazing a path into our future. And this Taurus energy is definitely going to ground us out, make us a little bit more aware, a little bit more present of ourselves, of our body, of what it is that we need in order to feel safe, secure, stable, and a little bit more comfortable in our skin, in our circumstances, while of course this is not the most comfortable of times. So we will see the moon go void, of course, at 7:58 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will lock into Taurus energy at 11:01 a.m. So a little bit of a short window of confusion, of instability that always takes place when the moon goes void. But I think it's also important to realize that today is the day that Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, finally goes direct after 6 weeks of being retrograde in the underworld of her unconscious self. And of course, there is a lot of energy building up to this particular event, a lot of heart activations. If you haven't listened to this week's Ascension forecast as of yet, I'm going to recommend you do so that you understand the physical aspects that will be likely coming to your attention with these energetic shifts. So with 9 different aspects here today and 7 of them involving the moon, we should definitely be in for an interesting back and forth, up and down, sway type of day. Also, considering the fact that today is the last day for Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings, to be direct, we are definitely going to be in for an interesting vibe. Considering the fact Jupiter is in Taurus energy, Venus rules over Taurus energy, and the moon is about to move into Taurus energy, we should feel very grounded, very in the present moment, and really kind of aware of what doesn't feel good so that we can create the smaller little things, the happiness, the joy, the pleasure, in order for us to feel safe and secure. So we kick off the day with the moon still in Aries energy, making a little bit of a rough aspect with the sun, who of course is in this Virgo energy. The moon being the past, the sun being the future, we're at a disconnect here. The moon in Aries energy wants us to break away from the past, wants us to slam the door on the past. We really want a fresh, clean start. We want to move away from all of the heaviness, all of the weight, all of the uncomfortability that we've been sitting in. And of course, the sun does support that, but it is shining a bright light in this Virgo energy on what it is that we have to do to build the proper structure, the proper routine, the proper plan and strategy to actually move away from the old that of course is helping to fix, to solve, to heal, to resolve these issues instead of just cutting it off altogether and trying to start from something from scratch. The moon then goes ahead, comes up to, bumps into, conjuncts with the North Node. That is in Aries energy for the next 18 months, showing us where it is that we got to break away from being too close, too intertwined, too influenced by other people's wants, needs, and desires. This is about us getting to know ourselves again, standing in our own power, really re-emerging as this new version of self, and putting our own wants, needs, and desires at the top of the list. This is definitely going to show us where it is that we are coming up with the plan, with the strategy for growth, for healing, for improvement. We may not be able to take action and actually implement some of those changes, but the plan and the strategy definitely coming together. The moon is then going to interact with Neptune, who is retrograde in his place of power in this Pisces energy, ruling over endings and closures, over our dreams and our fears, over our unconscious self where pain and trauma is concerned. We are really having to kind of deal with things head on. The moon in Aries gives us the boldness, the bravery, the courage, the warrior type of spirit in order to really take a good look at ourselves, at what it is that we've been allowing from our past experiences to continuously be brought here into this present moment, that obviously creating a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of friction on how it is that we are going to break away from the old and move forward to the new. Now, what we can kind of gather from this particular aspect is that our intuition is coming through a little bit more stronger than it has in the previous days. And the intuitive insights or the gut feelings, the gut reactions, definitely going to show us where it is that we have to break away from the old and where it is that there is an eagerness, an impulse, a desire to start fresh, start from scratch, and of course, create a new realm, new reality that is more in favor of our higher selves, our wants, our needs, our desires, our mission, our quest, our purpose. The sun in Virgo energy is then going to create an aspect with that north node. Not a great one. Definitely showing us where it is that we're too eager to kind of break away from the old. We're too eager to slam the door shut on the past. We're too eager to kind of want to start something new when we haven't processed or integrated the life lessons, the emotions, the ideas, the understanding, the perspective of the past. The sun being in this Virgo energy, of course, wants to identify the problems in order for us to fix it, but also needs to focus in on the smaller details of what it is that we're focused on, what we allow to take up space in our mental plane, what we allow to loop in our inner dialogue, our inner narratives that may be actually preventing us from growing, from healing, from making the kind of changes, transformations, and improvements that we actually desire to make. This realization is going to come at a beautiful time because, of course, the moon in Aries is going to square off, get into the boxing ring with Pluto, the great transformer himself, who is retrograde in this Capricorn energy, helping us to collapse the old structures, the old foundations, the old ways of doing things, the old roles and responsibilities, the old karma. Now, this is the last aspect that the moon is going to be making before going void, of course, and any interaction with Pluto is very intense. We do a deep dive in the psyche. We unearth a lot of the conditioning and programming that is preventing us from moving forward. But we know that when we interact with Pluto, that there is a major shakeup, a major wake up, and therefore we are on the right path to having the emotional shift, the emotional change, the emotional transformation that we need to have in order to get our heart and head on the same page so that we can slowly but surely engage that physical body to take action, to make moves according to the plan and the strategy that, of course, we are currently piecing together. So the moon goes void, of course, locks into this Taurus energy, 11:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're definitely going to feel a little bit heavy, a little bit weighted, because we need to be very present, very aware in our physical bodies, in our here and now. It isn't until 1:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that we have our first aspect taking place with the moon in Taurus energy, now interacting with Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves, who is retrograde, reflecting back, revising, revisiting, redoing, reworking in its place of power in this Virgo energy, taking a good look at our physical body, at our physical realm, at the smaller details that make up the greater grander whole, really kind of picking apart what isn't working in order for us to come up with something better in its place. The moon being our heart space, Mercury being our head space, we are not on the same page in the here and now. The Taurus energy and the Virgo energy, they're both earth energies, which is definitely going to indicate that we're going to be a little bit heavy, a little bit weighted, feeling like we aren't really able to make much move, much change at this particular point in time. And of course, earth energies has us very focused on the physical body, on the physical realm, and where it is that we're no longer in alignment with some of the circumstances and situations that our old self, our ego self, has created for ourselves. The moon in Taurus is then going to go ahead and sextile, beautiful energy, beautiful interaction with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde in this Pisces energy, helping us to question everything, helping us to kind of deconstruct our old belief systems in order to build something better in its place. The moon interacting with Saturn in this way, lucky for us, is a positive interaction, so we're not going to be negative Nancy's and Betty the Bullies and Debbie Downers. Instead, we are going to wholeheartedly, soberly, seriously take a good look at what it is that we've built, what it is that we've created in our physical realm, and realize where we have a desire to move away. But of course, Saturn needs us to build a bridge, if you will, a better structure, better foundation on how it is that we plan to kind of break away from the old, and how it is that we plan to bridge the gap from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. This is going to be a true acceptance of growth, of realizing that we have chapters that we've outgrown, that we have roles and responsibilities that are no longer ours to kind of fulfill. We are moving on, but the adjustment period that we're in is very rough and very much putting us in a situation to question what it is that we're being called away from and what it is that we're being called closer to. The moon in Taurus is going to make an interaction with Mars, the god of war. He rules over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger. And Mars is currently not in his happiest place in this Libran energy. Yes, we're trying to keep the peace. Yes, we're trying to hold on to the things that are currently trying to fall apart. But even more than that, we are really just trying to balance our emotions, balance our anger with our passions, with our desires, balance our energy and efforts on how it is that we kind of have to navigate the intellectual battlefield, coming up with a plan and strategy long before we take action, waste our energy, waste valuable time on just kind of moving forward willy-nilly. We do have to come up with a plan and a strategy. And this particular interaction definitely grounds us out to see the options, the choices, the path, the directions now available to us. And one has us very angered, very triggered, very activated, very irritated, if you will, by kind of sticking too close to the same old. And the other has us a little bit nervous, a little bit kind of on the fence, if you will, on whether or not we're fully prepared, ready, and activated to do what is required of us to actually break away from some of the things that we are currently trying to close the door on and initiate something new. Again, just keep in mind that Mars being in this Libran energy, not his finest point. He is stuck in the intellectual battlefield of having to kind of charm his way, compromise, negotiate his way closer to what it is that he's trying to kind of bring to life. And honestly, not going so well with all these planets in a retrograde. So we're just trying to keep the boat afloat here for this present moment. And that in itself can be very agitating, very frustrating, and trigger a lot of anger. 9:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, finally going direct. Please go ahead, take a listen to September's energy forecast and the Venus going direct astro forecast. Bust out your Virgo season e-guide, take a glimpse on what it is that you're focused on, what it is that you're currently experiencing as of yet. Compare notes to 6 weeks ago when she first went to a retrograde. This particular energy is definitely going to upset the apple cart, so to speak, really put a lot of pressure on our chest, on our heart space. Again, please listen to the ascension forecast for this week on the rundown of the physical symptoms that you can expect with all of these energy shifts.